Hey everyone, welcome to this special edition of the High Press with Conor Robinson. Joining me today is our first guest on the show, and a very special guest at that. We have fellow Bonaventure alum Kieran Toland joining me today. How's it going, mate?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. How are you?
Doing well. I'm ready to get things kicked off. We're here to talk all things Celtic, so I'll
Yeah.
just go ahead and get into it. In the past few weeks, the club's captain, Scott Brown, has announced he's going to be leaving at the end of the season. What are your thoughts on his legacy at the club? He's got, a ton of trophies in the cabinet.
Yeah, I mean, his success is unprecedented. A lot of people at my age have been comparing him to Billy McNeil. Billy McNeil, probably the greatest ever Celt. So, yeah, for me and the people that I grew up with, we would all consider him to be that kind of guy in our era. But yeah, he's brought massive success in his time at Celtic, and it's just a shame that he's leaving now.
And you touched upon the word success there. Part of that culture has been kind of brought in by Brendan Rodgers of the past 5 years or so. I know he's moved on to Leicester, but his three consecutive domestic trebles. What are your thoughts on the Brendan Rodgers sort of era there?
I mean, that's the greatest era that I've had since I've been born and supporting Celtic. The football we played, the dominance we had in every cup, league, everything we did. Everyone was talking about Rangers and how they were coming back to get us, blah, 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 this and that. But then Brendan Rodgers was just there and shot them down. I think we beat them 5-0, 5-1. Good couple times. We went down to 10 men, still managed to beat them 3-2. So the dominance that he had in that era and the football that he had us playing in that era, more importantly, that was the best part about it all, to be honest.
Absolutely. And I know you said that, Rangers, and I know how Celtic fans feel about Rangers as a club. They have done really well this year with Steven Gerrard.
Yeah.
How do you see that how does Celtic get back on top next season?
I think it all just starts from the top. We've never really had a director of football. And I think if we do go out and manage to get the right person in at the top, and then the manager comes in under him, and then the players get the right players in, and then it's all just kind of a rebuild process right now. We obviously had 9-10 years of dominance there, but it was always going to, it wasn't going to last forever. So, I mean, to be honest, Rangers have done really well this year, far better than I think anyone really expected. Still unbeaten in the league, did really well in Europe. So Steven Gerrard's got them playing really good football. So it is what it is. Hopefully, with the rebuild, I would like to see. I know there's a lot of talk right now. I'd like to see Eddie Howe come in. I think he's the perfect guy for the job right now. But we'll see who they end up coming up with.
A lot of names have been thrown out there for manager Eddie Howe. I've heard, Frank Lampard, Chris Wilder. Who do you think would be the best fit out of those three?
Yeah, I do believe Eddie Howe would be the best. He took Bournemouth from nothing, took them to a Premiership team, had them there for 5-6 years on the smallest budget in the Premiership. I think he's young. I've seen a lot of videos of him coaching as well, and I think just the way that he connects with the players as well is something that we need. And I think it's a lot different from what Lennon was. I think Lennon's more of a authoritarian, like kind of not a bully as such, but very hard on the players. And I think a lot of the players we have nowadays need like an arm around the shoulder. It's going to be okay. I think Eddie Howe would be that guy. So.
Yeah, and you mentioned the Bournemouth thing. I know that they were playing a lovely brand of football, all the way from the fourth tier all the way up. What are some of your favorite memories of Celtic? I remember the game against Barcelona that comes to mind.
Yeah, I would go before that. My earliest memory would always be the Celtic v Rangers. It was the Martin O'Neill era. When he came in, he won the treble. And I think it was the first game that year, and we played against Rangers at home, and we beat them 6-2. Henrik Larsson's chip is one of my favourite goals of all time, personally. But yeah, that And then also, as you said, the Celtic v Barcelona game 2-1. I wasn't at it, unfortunately, but I had a lot of friends at it. And I know from watching it, I still get goosebumps, like even listening to the reaction from the crowd. And yeah, it holds a good place in my heart.
And you mentioned a couple of players from the past, Henrik Larsson. Is that your favorite, or do you have a couple other ones that you come to mind?
I mean, Henrik Larsson, without a doubt. I think if you ask anybody around my age that's a Celtic fan, they would all say the same. Henrik Larsson was a big part of our childhood. I used to go out with my friends, and quite a few of them, because I always used to have a Celtic top on with Larsson in the back, they'd be like, "Oh, Larsson this, Larsson that, pass me the ball." He was always my hero growing up. But from then, more recently, I would definitely have said Scott Brown. Try to think before the 9 in a row. Guys like Joe Ledley, I loved Joe Ledley when he played. Gary Hooper was always a really good player for me. Paddy McCourt didn't get his time, but I always liked him as a player. I always thought he was really good. So yeah, there's a couple different players that stand out to me, but Henrik Larsson definitely is the biggest one there.
Well, Kieran, I do appreciate your time. How can our fans find you, on social media? Do you have any plugs or anything?
Just Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Kieran Toland. That's pretty much it. Nothing
Perfect.
Special.
Well, I do appreciate your time, mate. Pleasure as always. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, smack that notification bell, hit the like button, give us your thoughts on Celtic and who you think the next manager is going to be. Kieran, pleasure as always, mate.
Thank you, Conor. Cheers, mate.
Cheers.